What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bible Corner Reviews. I'm reviewing the King James Ultra Thinline Bible today from Thomas Nelson. I recently, as in a couple weeks ago, reviewed the New King James Ultra Thinlines, but I figured I would separate the King James from those just so it's easier to reference and search when you're looking for this particular Bible. So this should make for a relatively quick video because I've covered most of the features already. So the box comes in a single piece slipcase, has the gold color with the King James, which is typical of Thomas Nelson's distinction between the two. New King James is red. Here's your info on the front. This is black leathersoft. And then the info on the back. These ones retail for $50, but you can get them for around $25 to $30 depending on who you purchase from. So if you saw my video on the New King James, you'll recognize this cover because ultimately the black leathersoft are exactly the same. So this is the New King James and this one is the King James. Same front design, same spine design, and then obviously the only difference noticeably is the New King James and the King James. So other than that, they're pretty much the same on the outside. So the dimensions on this are 8.5 inches tall by 5.5 wide by 3/4 inches thick. Has a perimeter stitch line, couple tooled hubs, Holy Bible, a cross, King James, and then the Thomas Nelson logo. And these do have the ISBN stamped on the back. The interior has a gray end sheet, which is also your presentation page. And then you get right into the Bible paper. They have the typical intros as with all of the Thomas Nelsons. This is a 2024 publication and it is printed in India. So we'll get to the text itself. So this is an 8-point font on 30 GSM paper. So it is on the mid-range, not quite as thin as some of the 28 GSMs, but honestly it feels about the same as a 28. And even with the opacity, it still comes out very similar to many of your 28 GSM papers. It is verse by verse, double column format, and it reads really nice. The King James typesetting from 2K Denmark is a really comfortable read on the eyes. And so it's a small font, but it is still very legible. Probably can see that there. These do have gold page gilding on the regular Ultra Thins. It is a single color layout, so you can see there's no accent colors on the typical pages. The books of the Bible begin right after the last one, so they don't start on a new page. That is obviously a choice to conserve space. These are line matched, so even though that paper is not quite as thick as others, you can see it's pretty easy to read and you don't really have that much ghosting. Even if we get to here a poetic setting, you can see that it really all looks the same and it's not too bad. So a really good job with that. There's one 3/8 inch wide satin ribbon, and I believe it is double satin. I honestly wish they would have went with a little bit thinner ribbons on these Bibles, because this thick of a ribbon on such a small, basically you have the ribbon over halfway. It covers basically half the thickness of the Bible itself. And so that's just a lot of ribbon to be squishing in between the pages and trying to move across. And so I think it will damage the pages over time compared to having a much smaller ribbon, like a 1/4 inch. The New Testament words of Christ are in red. And as with many of Thomas Nelson's mass-produced red letters, it's not consistent all the way through, but it is still very good, and it's not too much to complain about. At the end, straight from Revelation right into Bible maps, you have your 8 Thomas Nelson maps. And you can see the overcast stitching on the back here, but with these India ones, I have yet to find any consistent ones that have overcast stitching at least visible on the front. It does have it on the back usually, but I haven't been able to see it on the front on any of them. So I don't know if they just don't, or if it's just much deeper and you can't see it from the exterior of the Bible. And then you have the end. So as far as comparisons, I don't have really that many. I did want to point out though, on camera at least, this is the large print thin line from Thomas Nelson in the King James. And this is one of my favorite kind of simple King James Bibles that I own. And it is also a verse by verse double column, although this is an 11.5 point type, so it is a little bit different in terms of font size, as you can tell. But I just wanted to point out that it's very impressive that you can get a verse by verse, still larger type. This is 8 points, so it's like that mid-range type, but in a Bible that is so much smaller. Just look how small that is. And this is like something you can carry around with you and really not have much weight or volume. And it's just really nice. It's something that's very readable, but very portable. And so I just wanted to point that out. The other thing is that this is not a new design for Thomas Nelson. I actually ran across in an old bookstore a couple weeks ago a Bible, which I will post a picture of right here, a couple pictures of actually, that was a thin line King James from Thomas Nelson from a couple of years ago, I think 2015, I might be mistaken there, that looked very similar to this and was very comparable in size. So it's not something completely revolutionary, obviously, but it is definitely one that I would recommend to look into if you want a Bible that's easy to carry around and very portable, but also very readable. So that is the King James Ultra Thinline Bible from Thomas Nelson.